In the summer of 1977, humanity took a bold step into the cosmos. NASA launched 2 robotic explorers, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, with one mission, to reveal the secrets of the giant planets and then continue onward, into the unknown. Voyager 1 would go on to become the most distant human-made object in existence, traveling farther from Earth than anyone could have imagined. It carried with it more than just instruments, it carried a golden record. A time capsule. A message to the stars. On that golden disc were the sounds of our world, greetings in 55 languages, music from Bach to Chuck Berry, the laughter of a newborn child, the roar of ocean waves, and the beating heart of our planet. It was humanity's handshake with the universe. A bold, almost poetic gesture, we were here. And we wanted someone to know. Voyager 1 completed its primary mission flawlessly. It flew past Jupiter and Saturn, capturing breathtaking images, volcanic eruptions on Io, Saturn's majestic rings, and strange new moons never before seen. Then, its mission changed. It was aimed outward, away from the solar system, toward interstellar space. Its job now was to report what lay beyond the sun's protective bubble. And it did. In 2012, Voyager 1 crossed the heliopause, the edge where the solar wind is no longer strong enough to push back against the pressure of interstellar space. It became the first human object to enter this vast, silent frontier. For over a decade, it drifted on, whispering back faint signals to Earth. Simple ones, magnetic readings, cosmic ray counts, plasma waves. Data that was dry to most, but precious to the few who still watched. Then, in early 2025, something changed. At a Deep Space Network station in Canberra, Australia, engineers monitoring routine transmissions from Voyager 1 noticed a deviation. The data stream wasn't just faint, it was distorted. A strange modulation, as if something was interfering. At first, they assumed it was equipment failure. Voyager was, after all, nearly half a century old. But the signal continued. Regular. Repeating. Unnaturally precise. It wasn't noise. It was structure. The frequency began to pulse, sharp bursts followed by silences, like a code. Not in any known language, but unmistakably patterned. As if something, or someone, was embedding information into the signal. Something Voyager itself was never programmed to transmit. More troubling still, calculations showed that the spacecraft's attitude had shifted. Not enough to be visible in its location, but enough to suggest its orientation had altered slightly. Subtly? Too exact to be a random drift. Too smooth to be a mechanical error. It was as though it had been nudged. At NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, analysts and engineers reviewed decades of flight data. Nothing in Voyager's autonomous software or hardware could explain such a maneuver. The attitude control thrusters had long since become unreliable. And there was no command from Earth to trigger such a change. Had something out there noticed? Within weeks, Voyager's signal shifted again, this time embedding pulses in a precise mathematical pattern. Prime numbers. A sequence recognizable across cultures and civilizations, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Repeated again and again, as if to confirm intent. It was enough to trigger global interest. Scientists at SETI, cryptologists from the NSA, and physicists from MIT and Caltech began poring over the data. Linguists compared the modulation to known languages, both human and theoretical. Nothing matched. But the consensus was clear, this was no natural phenomenon. Something intelligent had touched Voyager, or intercepted it. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the pattern ceased. Voyager 1 returned to its regular telemetry. The pulses ended. The orientation stopped shifting. The cosmic ray readings and plasma data returned to normal. As if whatever had caused the anomaly had withdrawn. Or passed. NASA issued a brief public statement, describing the event as an unexplained but likely benign data anomaly. But behind closed doors, the discussion was very different. Had Voyager passed through a remnant signal field? A pocket of intelligent noise in the interstellar medium? A long-dead beacon, broadcasting across millennia? Or was this contact? Current? Some theorized that Voyager had entered a region of space saturated with information, a kind of interstellar web built by civilizations, so old their signals no longer resembled anything we'd recognize. To them, Voyager might appear as a child's toy. An ancient probe dragging behind it a crude golden disk. Or worse, perhaps it was a warning. A cosmic do not disturb sign. In the weeks that followed, scientists monitored for further anomalies. But Voyager remained silent. Routine. Almost eerily so. As if the spacecraft itself was retreating, or perhaps, being watched. Yet the mystery had already been planted. For the first time since its launch, Voyager 1 was no longer just a symbol of exploration, but of uncertainty. It reminded us how little we understand about the void between stars. How even in silence, space might not be empty. It reminded us that the universe is not obligated to make sense. And Voyager. It continues to drift. Through a night without end. Carrying the story of a small blue world, of its people, its music, its hopes. But now, perhaps, it carries something more. Not just a message from Earth, but a question? Who else is listening?